Good morning, everyone. My name is Roseanne Trionfi Mazzuchelli. I'm the Veteran Service Officer with the town of Winthrop, and I'm here interviewing and talking with Mr. Brook, Tuskegee Airmen, who lives in Winthrop, and he's going to share his story as well as some other thoughts that he has and something about his background and what he did in the service and his friends that are still with him today, and we're going to share some pictures with you. So, Delbrook, tell me, how long have you been living in Winthrop first?
I should say 1946 because I got inducted here at Fort Banks.
Oh, at our own Fort Banks?
Yeah.
Okay, and
I moved here in 1987.
Okay, so you got inducted here in 1946, and what happened after that day?
After that day?
Did you go right to training?
No, we were in high school.
You're in high school. Oh.
And myself and 3 other guys wanted to go in the service. I didn't like school.
Oh.
So I dropped out, and then we came to Fort Banks, get inducted. Then we got transferred to New York, and then we went down, and the Air Force was stopped for going into the Air Force. And I went to Fort McClellan, Alabama.
I know that place well.
And it was infantry basic training, and the sergeant says, "Does anybody here know how to type right?" I put my hand up. So I did all the office work.
I see.
So, but it was very bad going down there.
Why is that?
Well, it was integrated for one thing. And as you know, in Anniston, they had the USO there. And we was walking on the sidewalk, and a burly white cop was coming up, and he says, "Don't you know you're supposed to walk in the gutter?" So one of the guys was from New York. There was 11 of us, and he got beat up. And we called up to base and said, "Come and get us."
Ah.
Because we know what would happen. So that's how it went.
And how long were you in Anniston, Alabama?
No, Fort McClellan.
Fort McClellan, yes.
Fort McClellan, 16 weeks.
16 weeks for infantry basic.
Yeah.
Okay, and did you train, it was only men back then that you trained with?
What's that?
Only men?
Yeah. So.
And how was that training?
It was good. Matter of fact, when I was about 14 years old, they had the Hells Angels from World War I that was stationed down the Cape, and they made me their fellow that, they had somebody to represent them. And one of the fellows lived on Laurel Street, and I lived on Laurel Street, and he made me the man. And I rode my bicycle from Roxbury all the way down the Cape.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So while you were at Fort McClellan, were you living in the World War II barracks? Where were you living on base?
They had it separated. I don't know what, they didn't have any numbers.
Okay. Were the old part of the base, or? Back then there was only the old part of the base, which was.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yes.
Yeah.
U-shaped building? Do you remember?
No, it was elongated.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah.
All right. And what type of things did you do at training? What were your duties at training?
Well, we used to crawl through the mud, red mud.
I know that too well.
Yeah. And that's about it. But the Hells Angels guys that was down at the Cape taught me how to break down a gun here and a gun there.
I see.
And there was a guy that came back from Italy, and he had shoulders like this and a little waist, and he says, "I want you to work on this machine gun." So, and he left me alone, came back, and I was sitting down reading a funny book. And he said, "Didn't I tell you to jump?" I said, "Before you say anything else, go in there and look at the machine gun." He says, "How did you do that?" I said, "I was trained."
By the best. So, is this a picture of you?
That's me and a friend of mine, but I don't remember his name.
And this is in Anniston, Alabama, in Fort
Yeah,
McClellan, right?
Yeah,
Okay. How old were you in this picture?
18.
Young.
Yeah,
Very young.
yeah.
Okay. And when you joined the service, were you 18 or 17?
No, I asked my father if I could go in 17.
Okay.
And he said, "No, you got to help me out in the store."
Which?
He owned a grocery store.
Oh, okay.
So,
Are you still friendly with anybody from your days at Fort McClellan?
all the 3 guys that went with me, they all died.
Oh, I'm sorry.
They're gone. The last one was 2 years ago. So,
But you're how old?
90.
God bless you. Yes.
Yeah, going on 91. So,
In May.
Yeah.
In May. And did you remain close with them up until they
Oh,
passed?
yeah.
And then after Fort McClellan, where did you go?
We went to California, and we had to take a ship from California, and we were going to the Philippines.
Okay.
And on the way over, it was 23 days to get to the Philippines.
Do you remember the name of the ship?
No way.
Was it a big ship? How many men were on there? Because there were no
It was
women.
loaded.
Loaded?
Yeah. And we stopped at nearly every island going over to the Philippines. That's why it took 23 days. And one guy we stopped at, he had a can of beer, and he took out his 45 and shot a hole in it so he could drink the beer.
That's one way to open a beer
I
can.
says, "Where are we going?" So, and we went into an engineering outfit that wasn't with the Air Force. And 2 of the guys wanted, they're going to send them to the Air Force. And they wanted me to stay back, be a coordinator and map.
Map reading and whatnot, and navigation.
And so they said, well, I went to the captain. I said, we came in the service together because one of them got held back in New York. He had a disc on his back or something.
Oh.
And I says, we want to stay together. And I says, I like the way you're saying, we need you draftsmen and stuff like you did in school. So I said, no. I said, I want to go with them.
For the buddy program.
Yeah. So the 3 of us went up there. Then we was finally in the Air Force.
And when you got to the Philippines, how long were you there? What were your duties?
I was there for a year.
Okay.
Went in 46 and came out in 47. And on the way back to the States, we was on a ship going to Seattle, base up there, and the typhoon came in the middle of the night at 3 o'clock, and it was going up and down and boom and boom, and we thought the war was going to start over. And then my friend Harold Thompson was laying on the deck, and it was a write-up by Kevin Cullen in the Globe.
I see this, yes.
And he credits me for saving his life. So
Amen.
that was one of them.
And you said you saved other people's lives.
Yeah, well, that was in Korea.
All right, and when did you go to Korea?
1951 to 52.
And where were you stationed in Korea?
Kimpo Air Force Base.
Where is that? Near the DMZ or lower?
Lower.
Lower?
Yeah.
Okay. Near Seoul?
Yeah, closer to Seoul.
Closer?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what were your duties there?
Base Supply Sergeant.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you like being in Korea?
Korea, I had a lot of jobs. I was in charge of the NCO club, and then
Popular place.
But I was the base supply sergeant there also.
Okay.
And a young guy came out of Florida, out of the second lieutenant, and he came in and wanted a pistol. So he says, I need a pistol. I said, we don't have any. He said, well, what about the one you got on your waist? I said, that's mine. Go in and talk to the captain. Captain says, what did he tell you? I gave him an M1.
So an M1 is a rifle.
The rifle.
So
Quite a rifle. And on the way coming back, going a little further, he came up and they gave me a going away party in the NCO club, and I was a little doozy. And he came up with his Jeep and shined the spotlight on us. He said, who goes there? I said, you know who goes there. So he said, you being fresh with me? I said, nope. So he came over and I hit him. And I said, okay, two guys are carrying me over to get on the plane. So, and I left my camera behind in the thing before we took off. So I called the colonel up. And I said, I left my camera underneath the thing. He said, what base are you at in Japan? And I said, so I'd say whatever it was. And he said, be on the tarmac, I'll be right there. And he brought me my plane, my camera. Yeah. I said, oh, this is nice.
And how long were you in Japan for?
Not long. We was getting ready to go home.
Oh,
Yeah.
and that was into Massachusetts or back down to?
No. We was, I was getting discharged.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's about that. And then one guy in Korea, he was an alcoholic, and we had a pot-belly stove. It was 30 below zero. Everything froze. We had to wash ourselves up with our helmets. It was terrible.
I remember those days.
And the drunk was in a Jeep, and I was in a Jeep going somewhere to pick up some stuff. And this Jeep was turned over, and it was him inside of it. And I said, what the heck you doing? Oh, I had to take him out of the Jeep because he looked like he was all cut up and everything. So he said, oh, thank you. I said, just don't come in my barracks anymore.
And where was this?
This was in Korea.
In Korea.
That was Korea. But
so you were quite the photographer as well back then.
oh yeah.
Okay.
But then I came out of the service, and I decided I was going to be a photographer. No, I came back to graduate from high school.
Oh, okay. So you had to go back to high school.
I went to commerce, and I didn't care for commerce, so I went back to Boston Trade School because I was doing carpentry and stuff like that. So,
and how long were you in the service in total?
6 years with the reserves.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you remained at Tuskegee Airmen the whole time?
In between World War II and Korea, that's when we started the
The group?
Huh?
The,
Yeah, I started the group.
okay.
And matter of fact, here's a picture that was taken at the State House. And I don't remember who the governor is, but that plaque was supposed to be in the Hall of Flags, and it's been missing ever since that picture was taken.
And where were you in this picture?
Right there.
Right there. Okay. How old were you in that picture?
Oh, 23, 24.
Young guy.
Yeah, young. Still
Very young. And no one knows what happened to that plaque?
Nope,
I see. Are you friendly with any of these gentlemen?
all of them.
Are they still here?
Let's see. This is Enoch Woodhouse, who's always in.
Oh, I remember Woodhouse.
Yeah, yeah. Most of these guys, this is one of the pilots here. This is the guy that started the
The New England group?
New England group, yeah. We used to call him Fuzzy Hector. I don't know why he was so fuzzy.
And the New England Tuskegee Airmen has been around for a long time.
Oh, yeah,
Okay. And you still all get together.
right.
Okay. And you offer a scholarship. I know it, we
Yeah.
put that through the high school.
Right.
And it's for any high school senior who's advancing his or her degree, whether it's a 2-year program or a 4-year program.
No, it's we got one, this is the guy that just last died.
Oh,
And
Stanford.
he's the pilot.
Okay.
He used to go out to, what's his name? Down here.
The Collins Foundation Museum?
Yeah. And he used to do the engines, and he also worked out of our airport here.
So, in this picture, were these the planes that were used when you were in?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's in World War II.
Okay.
Yeah. They didn't go to Korea.
And how did the name Tuskegee?
That's the name of the college that was down there.
Okay. Okay.
And then they had, we had a picture here with Eleanor Roosevelt, and she's the one that made, told her husband to make them flyers, because they didn't have black pilots then.
I see.
Yeah. Here's another picture.
And what is this picture of, just your group?
Yeah, that was at a scholarship thing.
Okay.
That was in Cambridge.
Okay.
Uh,
And this was back in 2012, so not that long ago.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Oh,
And is this group still very active today?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And where do you meet?
We meet at Charles Street Church in Dorchester.
How many members of the group are still alive today?
I can't count.
And who is this picture of?
This is me.
This is you. Okay.
That was an MP.
Oh.
That was it. That was in World War II.
Okay.
The tail end of the world.
And you gave this picture to your mom?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's me when I graduated from high school.
Very handsome, Delbrook.
Huh?
Very handsome.
Oh, yeah. Thank you very much. That's,
So how old were you when you finally graduated from high school? Because you went back, right?
Yeah. I guess I was 20 years old. And that's me when I was a photographer for the Elks.
So when did your love of photography start?
A fellow was, I think it was in World War II, that was doing pictures and stuff, and I was watching them doing it and everything. And then when I came out, and I graduated from the Eastern School of Photography, and 2 years nights at MIT, and I opened up a dark room in my house on it, and my daughter used to help me when we take the pictures, develop them, and everything else. And She was great help, though.
That's good.
Yeah,
That's good.
yeah.
And tell me a little bit more about the Tuskegee Airmen. So when did they disband? When did they stop calling them
They
Tuskegee?
never disbanded.
They never. So there's still active
Yeah,
members.
they still got the airport still down at Tuskegee, and they're gonna go until we finish up.
So if somebody were to come into
Everybody-
the service today, could they still be a Tuskegee Airman?
We're trying to induct people to come and join,
Okay.
but the last meeting I went to was last Thursday, and only 4 people showed up for the meeting, and 2 of them just joined that day.
Oh. And what are the
But
criteria?
no, these guys have never been in the service,
Oh, okay.
and they're trying to build it up so we can get more people coming. Most of the guys are dead. That
And when did the military stop using the term
what
Tuskegee Airmen?
they'll always use it,
Okay.
lifetime. But everything is nice.
And what were the qualifications to be a Tuskegee Airman back then, when you were in?
Well, they go by your IQ,
Okay.
whatever, and then you're talking about being a pilot.
A pilot or being a part of the group, the Tuskegee Airmen?
Well, anyhow, if you wanted to go, you could go down to Tuskegee, and if they would accept you,
Okay.
and you had the right qualifications, then you'll be Tuskegee Airman.
Okay.
They don't whack you on the butt or anything like that.
And when you were going through it, how many were in your group? How many were in your unit? Do you remember?
We're here in
When you
in
were down
Boston.
No, back down south.
I don't know about all them guys down south.
Did you have a big group that you trained with?
No, I stayed did the living the clothes and everything.
Okay.
And the guy come in and he says, I said, what size hat you wear? He says, I don't know. I said, what size shoes you wear? I don't know. And most of them were Southern blacks. That
Okay.
said, and then you say left foot, right foot when you're marching. They didn't know what you're talking about. You said hay foot was for your left foot and right foot was the other one. And I had one guy, we had to scrub him with one of them heavy brushes. Never took a shower.
Oh.
So we jumped him and put him in the shower and bathed him up.
Well, it was people were poor.
Yeah. But he was in the service.
Yes.
That's-
And that was a way of life for a lot of Southerners
Yeah,
to better themselves.
yeah.
And that's why there are more people that go in the service from the South than from up here. Up here, the recruiters seem to have a hard time filling their needs, making their numbers, but down South, they never have had a hard time making
Right,
their
yeah,
numbers.
Right,
Because it was a much better life, much better way of living
right,
to be in the service if you were from the South.
right.
So, but
And anybody that's in school, they after they get out of high school, they should join the service because they'll make a man out of you.
I understand that.
Yeah,
I understand that.
Yeah.
Well, that's in Europe. It's still mandatory service.
Right.
We're the only ones who don't do that, as well as a few other places. But Europe, it is mandatory for you to do 2 years in the service.
right.
And you were in around the draft time, or
Right.
before the
yeah.
draft.
Oh
so-
yeah, before my father and I went to the draft.
So he was drafted? Your
No,
dad?
no, he didn't get drafted.
Okay.
No, it's a funny thing. So
And how many were in your family?
just me and my sister,
Okay.
and now I'm a grandfather and a great-grandfather, and my family's coming in from Germany in May. For 7 of them are coming, so I'll be happy to see them all together. but one grandson won't fly no more.
Oh.
So he don't like it.
Okay.
So,
All right. So after your service time,
right.
getting out of the service, how did you feel getting out of the service and going back to the civilian world?
Well, I felt like, seeing I got my high school diploma and everything, I said, now's the time. But I took courses while I was in the Philippines from UCLA.
Okay.
And the guys that when we left Boston Trade School, we had the IQ test, and I was the top guy, and they graduated from high school. And I said, this is nice. So they said, you want to go to officers training school? I says, I don't know anything about the Army yet. I says, nope.
But was it tough leaving the service, which was very regimented, and then going to the civilian side back again? Where?
No, it wasn't, not with me.
Okay.
And my father had a store for a long time, so everything was fine.
Did you go back to work for the store?
No. My sister did, though.
Okay. And some of the guys that you were stationed with, the ones that are still alive, any from New England?
The ones that was in high school with me, they were from New England.
Okay.
No, but let's see, one guy came from Florida, and that was Harold Thompson, the one that died 2 years ago. The rest of them were, no.
How'd you meet Colonel Woodhouse?
Oh, that's a long story. We used to go to the Robert Gushaw house, and we used to build model airplanes with the glue and stuff, and then you zip it and all that stuff. But I see Woodhouse over in Winthrop more than I do at the meeting because he hasn't been there for a year and a half.
Okay.
So I just leave him alone.
Okay.
But we still talk.
Were you stationed together?
No.
Is he older or younger than you?
He's about 2 years older or 1 year, I think so.
So you were never in his command?
No.
Okay.
No. So that's that.
So I see you wearing a red tie.
The red tie is because of the red tails
On the planes.
on the plane.
I see. And you've adopted that as a group.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And your jacket that you're wearing, which is very
No,
cool.
this jacket I bought myself.
Did you have it made?
No, they had it advertised in the magazine.
Okay.
And I always wanted a flight jacket. But the thing, when I was a kid, I used to come over on the ferry to the airport. And the guy that flew the biplane that takes the flag over the Red Sox games.
Yes.
So we get on by myself, nobody with me, and went over there. And he says, "Oh, you like the airplanes?" I said, "Yeah, I used to make them, you know." He says, "I'll take you up." I said, "Okay." So he took me up and flew over the baseball game. He said, "Anytime you want to come back." And he was teaching me how to fly, too, at the time.
Oh.
But that stopped. But that's it. And I'm happy to be in Winthrop.
I'm happy that you're here too.
I know that. And
And now, so when you went to basic
yeah,
and advanced training, obviously there were no women in with you
No,
back then.
no.
And you were with all men you were integrated in the service?
when in World War II?
Yes.
No,
You weren't?
no.
Okay. When did that, do you know when that happened?
No, I have no idea. Yeah. Well, what's his name? I told you his name earlier,
Yes.
and he was the one that made it possible that everybody had to integrate.
Integrate.
That was Truman.
Right, President
Yeah,
Truman.
yeah.
Was it
President-
tough?
Huh?
Was it tough to do that?
No, not really.
I mean, you're all fighting for the same cause. You're all
I know
working
it,
together.
But, well, it's the same way when I was in Korea. All of the people in there were all white
In Korea.
in Korea, and I came in as the base police
Supply sergeant?
the supply sergeant, and they had a tent there, and they were playing this Western music. So I said, okay, and I got a picture here of me cutting up. Oh boy, there I am. So we could.
Oh, they had you working.
No, I did it myself.
You did it? Okay.
Yeah, because I was a carpenter, you know.
Yes.
And we put the windows in and everything else. That's a tent.
Oh, yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
I could see that.
Yeah.
I lived in a tent in Honduras, so I know.
Right.
It's-
You know,
And as the base supply sergeant, now what rank were you? Were you an NCO?
I was
E5?
T5 sergeant.
Okay.
Now I'm staff sergeant because of being in the reserves. I used to check the fuel for the planes, give out the uniforms, pistols, and whatever else. And it was something. But then when I was in Korea, they sent me over to Japan to look for the whole baggages with the guys that came on the ship.
Okay.
I said, oh, this is nice. So I said, I got to go back and check on some whole baggage. I found one whole baggage in the whole year.
You can't go far without our supply people, let me
Oh,
tell you.
no, I
It's-
know it. And this fellow here took a picture of me and written on the back that he wrote to his mother. I'm going to have a cup of coffee.
Okay. And where was this picture? Oh, in Korea.
Korea,
Kimpo, Korea. 1952.
yeah.
Just a couple years ago.
Yeah, a couple years ago. But he took me up in his jet, and I enjoyed it. You know.
So did you fly in these planes at all?
No,
Okay, but you were near them every day, pretty much.
huh?
You were near them.
No, I went. That's World War II. They were in
Okay.
Germany.
Okay.
That's Germany. I was over in the other way.
Okay. And what did they fly in Korea?
They had. We had in Korea. We had same type of planes like that.
Okay.
But and I was right next to the planes as they're taking off, which a friend of mine whom I'm talking to right now got me my hearing.
Here to serve. Here to serve.
I gotta put you in here because you're the top girl.
I try. I
Yeah.
try and take care of all of you.
Yeah, I know that.
We try. Sometimes we battle with the VA, but
Yeah,
we try and we win. Most of the time we win.
you're right.
So, and then when you left the service, you came back home.
You're right. And I went back to high school.
You went back to high school, and then did you get married right after
Oh,
that? or-
I got married. My first wife and I got married, and I went. They called me back from the reserve to sit my butt somewhere else,
Oh,
and we didn't get married. When I got recall, she joined the service the next day.
oh.
and went into the Air Force, but she was down in the Pentagon building with the big computers, not the little ones like we got now.
Right.
So she's, unfortunately, she's in the hospital right now. So she's not doing too well.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
How long were you married to her?
Oh, I can't remember. 15 years.
15 years?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you said first wife, so then I'm assuming there was a second wife?
Huh?
There was another wife too?
Yeah.
How? Okay.
Of course.
Just
Yeah.
being a player. And how long were you married to her?
Oh, well, we lived in sin for a while.
That's okay.
And then got married. But and I was with the Elkton, and I had to go to a meeting down in Florida. I mean, not in Florida, in Rhode Island. And she had stomach cancer.
Oh, I see.
But when she first got sick, the doctor on Jamaica plane told her she had something or other. And I finally went down to the one down on Harrison Avenue, not Boston Medical, but the other one.
Right.
And everywhere she went, they said she had an ulcer or whatever it was. So when I got to the last one, she went to the women and
Brigham and Women.
Brigham and Women. Didn't same thing, and then we got to the one down that was on Harrison Avenue.
Okay.
And the doctor came out, was a woman doctor. She said, I know, I got something terrible to tell you. I said, I know what it is. She says, what is it? I said, she got cancer of the stomach.
Sad.
That was it.
How long was she in the service for?
She went, no,
Okay.
she was never, and she was older than me.
Okay.
That was 1977.
Okay. So how many children do you have?
Just two.
Oh, okay. And your son's in the service? He was in the service?
Yes, he was, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. They're in Germany, and they're coming here in May.
Looking forward to meeting them.
Yeah.
So have you ever gone back to Tuskegee, Alabama?
I've never been there.
Never?
No, I was
Okay.
in,
But you were in Anniston, Alabama.
yeah.
So how far is, I wonder how far Anniston is from Tuskegee.
I don't know.
Okay.
Don't have the miles.
Did you like being in Alabama?
Nope.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's hard for-
I'll tell you a little joke, though. The church that they had down in where the three girls got killed in the church,
Okay.
we went to that church. That's long before. So the preacher was preaching, and the three of us was sitting in there, and I was in the middle. So he says, then he comes outside at the end of the service, and he's outside the door, and he says, how did you like this sermon? Harold says, oh, it was wonderful. And Conrad says, yeah, it was. So he said, what about you? I says, I enjoyed it myself. He says, how do you know? Because you were sleeping. I said, no, I was meditating. But yeah.
It was a tough time for us New Englanders to go down
It's down south.
especially Alabama.
Right. Mississippi too, might
Mississippi
be.
too.
Yeah, all of them.
We had a hard time down there.
Yeah.
And looking back on your service time,
Right. I enjoyed it.
did it make you the man that you are today?
Yes.
Okay.
More, yeah.
What if you didn't go in the service? What do you think would have happened to you?
I don't know. My sister just, on my 90th birthday card, sent me a birthday card. And she wrote on there, she says, I did never think that you would go be 90 years old, because you was a bad guy.
So the service saved you.
Yeah, right. But I laughed at that one, Because I used to run away from home because nobody loved me.
I'm sure they all loved you.
No. Well, my father had a grocery store and it opened at 7 in the morning and closed at 11, 7 days a week.
It's a lot of time to work.
Yeah. Then my mother would yell out, hey, Delbrook, come on home. So she'd call the police department, and Danny Flood, the police officer, she said, you know where you'll find him? He's sitting on the church steps. I was Episcopal. Oh, boy.
And where was the store?
Huh?
Where was their store?
He first had a store before I was born in Roxbury
Okay.
on Vernon Street. Then he decided to move down on Tremont Street across from Slade's Restaurant. And then we finally went up to Laurel Street. He had the last store there.
Okay.
But he did well.
How old was he when he passed?
About 76.
Okay. And your mom?
My mom died here in Winthrop at Sturgis Street.
How old was she when she passed?
94, 95, somewhere around there.
Good genes then.
Huh?
You have good genes.
Yeah, but I got a grandmother that was Jewish, and she lived to be 104.
Wow.
So I think I got some.
I think you got a lot of time left.
Oh, yeah.
I think you do.
Right.
And you make the most of it. So you are called the mayor of Golden Drive
Yeah, by Peggy.
by Peggy. Yes. Love Peggy.
Peggy.
And you take care of everybody there.
Well, I had one guy that lives in back of me. He was very disabled, and we used to drive up to New Hampshire to get the cigarettes for the people in Brothers Restaurant. And we were talking about the football game, and I had the keys to help him with his coffee in the morning in my building behind me. So I went in, opened up, Billy, I'm here. No answer. And found him dead on the floor in the bathtub. Not in the bathtub, but on the floor. Then the guy says, one of the police officers, oh, you know him very well. What's his social security number? I says, he didn't give me his social security number, but I called his sister in Madison, Wisconsin, and she got her kids to bring her over here, and they dropped everything and they came here. And the cane that I got was his.
Oh.
So I enjoyed that, and he got an electric scooter that I can drive around in. Then I just took care of a woman, Catherine Muse.
Yes.
She lived in my building. I took care of her for 3 years. And she had a grandniece that never comes and sees her. And I had to take her to the hospital and then all the other places that I had to go. But I miss her.
Yeah.
But she was a very nice person. And then there was somebody else that died in my buildings. I says, well, I'm still here.
Taking care of everybody.
Yeah, taking care of everybody.
I asked other veterans who've moved in there, I'm like, do you know Delbrook? Oh, we know Delbrook.
No, I don't know them.
They know you.
Well, there's a couple people in there that I haven't seen yet.
Okay. And then you're active with our American Legion, Post 146.
Oh, yeah.
Great group of guys.
And VFW. And I used to drive the Blue Line train.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And I joined when I was on there. And the funny thing was that so everybody says, "Oh, I remember you on the train." I said, "Yeah, okay, that's it." So, and I had 3 great triplets, and the only one that was still alive, and his birthday is today.
Same
But
as mine.
And I can't go down because it's down to Bridgewater. No, you want to drive me down to Bridgewater at 8 o'clock at night?
No, thank you.
Neither do I.
So, the New England Tuskegee Airmen,
Right.
what are the criteria to be a part of them?
You normally have to be in the service,
Okay.
but now they're asking other people that have got some brain pull, we can work just like this here for the scholarship.
Okay.
And I've been hoping that Winthrop High School will have somebody that needs some help to go to college.
Could all use a little help. College is expensive.
And very expensive.
And how much is this scholarship?
It's opening up in there.
I know it's at least 5.
No, you got more than that. No, you're going the wrong way. You're going the wrong way.
Okay.
Where's Harvey at? There's Harvey.
Okay.
They gave his mother, whatever, he got a 5-year scholarship from Collins people,
Okay.
and it goes anywhere from $1,000 up to $5,000.
Is it based on need?
Over 4 pages.
Okay.
I mean, over
4 years. Is it based on need?
Huh?
Is it based on your need? If you
No, not really. But
Okay.
if you need help to go to college today, that's the best place to come.
Okay. So if anybody, any seniors are looking at our program, please reach out to me and I will put you in touch with Joe Brook and he'll help you through this process with the New England Tuskegee Airmen, and it's called the Harvey Sanford Annual Scholarship. So please reach out and we'll take care of it. I'll put you in touch with Del Brook and
Okay.
do all the criteria and
Right.
meet the criteria. So when this group, the New England Tuskegee Airmen, formed, when did it form? How long ago?
Oh, boy. In the 50s.
Okay.
No. About before that,
Okay.
maybe 47,
Okay.
50, somewhere around there. But, and it's still going, but with everybody dying off. No,
It's hard to attract new membership.
right, I know it.
So, I mean,
And then we had a Christmas thing this past Christmas out in Jamaica Plain, and we invited some people that liked the Air Force and blah, 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 and we invited them. And then I think I just said that the last meeting there was only 4 of us there. The president came late. I'm always early because of the ride.
yes.
Yeah, and the ride just went up. But it's something else.
So overall, thinking about your time in the military,
Right. I enjoyed
does it put a smile on your face?
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
because I was helping people. When I was in Korea in 51, the 52 the track meets and all that stuff. I'm trying to think.
Were you a runner?
Oh, I was a runner, yeah. But the Korean people didn't know how to do the start off.
Okay.
And the next year was the Olympics in Korea.
In Korea.
So I was teaching them how to do it. So that was good. But go back to World War II, we had the Marines things. And,
Inter-service.
yeah, inter-service thing. And we had a track meet, and I was on that one. But I had back in trade school, before I went in the service, there was a guy named Carl Joyce that went to school, and the Eastern Newton Armory was a track meet. And this guy has never been lost a race in 1,000. And I beat him, and and he died in an airplane accident later on in life. But then they had a doctor in the VA, tall doctor. I said, "Geez, you look like you used to run the 1,000." He said, "Yeah." I said, "I did too." He said, "What was your time?" I said, 2 minutes and 32 seconds.
You were fast.
Yeah, I was real fast. He says, "I don't believe it." I said, "It was done."
Were you a fast runner because of all that experience you had running from the law?
Oh, no, 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 no. No. That's it.
And again, talking about the military. Now, did your son join the military because you were in the military?
He might have. I don't know.
Okay, maybe that's something to ask
Yeah,
him
yeah, when he comes here.
when he comes here.
Yeah, right.
And today, what could you say to get somebody to join this group?
Well, if you got $75
Okay.
and 50 of that stays with us, and the rest of it goes to the
Scholarship.
down to Tuskegee.
Okay.
That.
All right. And so overall, the military was a positive impact, made a positive impact on your life, and it
Well,
didn't matter that you were.
I enjoyed my life.
Okay.
I go and visit people and go to. When I was in Japan, I went to a Japanese movie theater, and I couldn't understand what they were saying, but it was good.
It was the experience.
Yeah.
It was the experience.
Yeah.
And looking back at when you joined, those were tough times when you joined.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So when you were in the
But
service,
I didn't have nothing to worry about because I got food. My father had the store
right?
and everything else. And
Do you remember what you got paid when you were in the service?
oh boy, it was like 20 something dollars
A month?
a month.
Did you send any home?
No.
Okay. And
No.
the barracks that you stayed in, were they open bay barracks?
No, we was in some tents, and then we had some plywood wrapped around. But the worst thing was that when we was in Korea, when it was 30 below zero,
Yeah,
the
it gets
fuel
cold there.
for the potbelly stove, they all froze.
Yeah.
Terrible.
That's,
And the cold weather that we're getting here now is not as bad as it was over there.
those are some tough conditions
Yeah.
back. Yeah. They get some tough winters there.
I guess we're ready to cut off here.
Well, I thank you so much
I
for
thank
being
you.
here.
I thank you for your service too.
Thank you, Delbrook. I appreciate
Yeah,
that.
because you made me the man I am today.
I push. You got to keep you all moving.
Oh yeah,
It's important.
yeah.
And I appreciate all that you do for me in my position because
Well, I try to help out everybody.
it's important that
Here's another guy.
we keep the military alive,
this-
especially in Winthrop.
There's what's his name, Kevin Cullen.
Okay.
Yeah, that was he was the deputy superintendent.
And it was that movie that came out some time ago about Red Tails.
Yeah.
And it was all about the Tuskegee Airmen.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Well, you mentioned in it?
Oh, he had me in the paper a couple times.
Good.
Matter of fact, I think he got me in here about.
Well, it was such an important part of our
Yeah.
history. And that
Right.
group was so important because of all the missions that they flew.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
they did very well. We got one guy. There's two guys that came up here, and they were pilots. And one guy got the record with the 3 wars, World War II, Korea, and
Vietnam.
And he was a pilot, and he got the the best record of flying.
He was a Tuskegee Airman?
Tuskegee Airmen. Yeah. Oh, there it is down here.
Delbrook Binns was wearing one of those red ties standing at the pulpit, remembering Saunders when he asked the other 6 men in red ties to stand. 6 old men who loved their country more than it loved them back stood, and the applause that bounced off the walls of the old church and washed over them was so loud that it was hard to believe that Saunders, laying in a casket at the foot of the altar, heard it too. What a nice tribute.
Yeah.
Because you did love your country, and you do love your country.
Oh, yeah. I love everybody.
So, but again, I thank you for sharing your story today.
And I thank you for doing it for me.
You always bring a smile to my face, Delbrook.
And I stumble quite a bit in here, and this, speaking of this thing.
It's all good.
Yeah.
It's all good. And thank you.
Thank you.
So that ends our interview with Delbrook Binns, the mayor of Golden Drive, a Tuskegee Airman, and a very active member in our community, especially our American Legion post, and with the Tuskegee Airmen, and a lover of life, and his family is coming, and I can't wait to meet them all.
Yes.
So Delbrook has my personal phone number, and he calls me, and,
Yeah.
and it's good because he keeps me going.
Right.
And thank you.
Thank you for being in Winthrop, and I'll be here for a few more years.
That's a good thing.
I want to beat my grandmother's record.
I'm sure you will.
104.
I'm sure you will. Thank you, everybody.
Everybody says, stop smoking. That's keeping me alive.
Okay, we won't talk about that.
Right. Get my daughter laughing. My son-in-law is over there laughing.